Keep telling you guys about sending your kids to these multicultural spaces thinking that they're getting a better education. They're getting an education in white supremacy. They're being taught how to be ostracized, how to be abused, and how to be separated and segregated in the classroom. This is what your children are learning. You guys don't realize the psychological damage that happens to a child growing up in this environment. Yes, your child will grow. That she or he will grow up to be an adult and be functioning in society, but their brain will never be the same. You guys don't know what it's like. I'm telling you from experience. I'm a child that went from an all-black environment in Brooklyn to a multicultural environment where I was the only black child in the class. I'm telling you from experience the psychological damage that happens. That's why I brought my black behind back to New York. Because I felt the difference. I saw the difference in my family members that stayed or that lived there. I saw the difference in how I saw myself and how they saw themselves. I saw the difference. I'm not telling you these things because, I'm trying to be self-righteous. I am that child, but I am the child that had both experiences. So I can tell you, you guys are doing irreparable psychological damage to your children by having them in these spaces that don't want them there.
So we're up to part 3 of this cheating scandal series that I'm doing. Okay, so we talked a little bit about why they cheated or why they feel the need to hold us back, right? So now I want to get into another reason on why white supremacists cheat.
You can talk about this being fair or what have you, but I will be brutally honest with you. Fairness has never been really a great value in my mind. I like greatness and winning and dominance and beauty. Those are values, not really fair.
So for those of you that don't know, Richard Spencer is a, well-known white supremacist, a white nationalist, whatever, right? So I just want you guys to see, while we're sitting here struggling for equality, they don't care. You're begging people for fairness and equality that don't believe in fairness and equality. Like, I just want you guys to understand and get that through your head. They do not believe in fairness and equality. Therefore, they are never going to give you fairness and equality. You have to take it. Now, listen to this video. Listen to the daughter, Lori, the same girl. I don't know what the child's name is. Listen to this child talk about what her dad did. So this kind of runs in the family, just a smidge.
To your parents for a second.
Yes.
Your dad is fashion mogul, like visionary, innovator, all of it.
Right.
There is a line like at Target, right, that bears his name.
Yes.
Oh, I love Target. Me too.
Me too.
And I own this. I think they're sweatpants that I have, and I think I have something else that bears your dad's name. Is there a part of you that understands the YouTube audience and sees what your dad has built in that lane as some sort of inspiration? Because
completely, yeah.
You can take a great eye, and the cost can be what the cost can be.
Right.
You don't need to sacrifice a good eye in a fashion sense just for the cost of a product.
Yeah, it's funny too because my sister wants to go the same route my mom went, and I want to go completely like the business side where my dad is. But he's honestly really helpful. I can just look at that for inspiration, I guess, and seeing that hard work does pay off. He didn't come from a lot, so it's cool to see that he built it all himself. Especially, he has a really crazy story in college. He like built his whole entire brand, and he wasn't actually like ever, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, sorry Dad, but he wasn't ever like enrolled in college, but he like faked his way through it. And
oh, wow.
yeah, so, and then he started his whole business with tuition money that his parents thought were going to college. That's like such a different time, but
It's amazing.
yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but it's okay.
Dude,
White privilege doesn't require legacy, people. There are multiple legs on this stool. There are multiple mechanisms in place. There's legacy, there's wealth, there's affinity, there's nepotism, there's insider ethnic trading. These people are at the country club talking about, well, are you members of this school? With my daughter, this is she said this during the interview with those guys, that her mom and her dad, since they were never really able to go to college like that, they got the inside track. Oh, you don't have legacy to get your daughter in there? Get preferential treatment for your daughter? That's okay. I know a guy who can get your kid in. You call him. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but you call him and he can get your kid in. See, we as black folk, we ain't got no stories like that. We don't know anybody we could call or talk to who could do that. We don't have anyone like that. Now, if you didn't keep up with us here earlier when we were talking about this guy had the plug at every single level. Those of you who've been in college, you've been told that there are so many safeguards and so many mechanisms in place to prevent cheating to get into these schools like Columbia and Yale and NYU and USC, that there's so many obstacles to cheating that you wouldn't really be able to pull it off. You can't cheat. This fella had the keys to all those doors. Okay, and to make this even bigger for you, he didn't just have the keys to all those doors at USC. He was able to get you to any school you wanted. So USC, Yale, Columbia, NYU, there was a whole laundry list of schools that he was able to get people into. So he didn't just have the keys to the kingdom in California. He had the keys of the kingdom in California. He had the keys of the kingdom in Connecticut. He had the keys of the kingdom in DC, in New York. He had the keys to the kingdom at all these schools. He had somebody in administration, somebody in testing, somebody in counseling. He had people everywhere at every school. Now, I want to ask you all one more thing. Do you think he's the only one? Do you really believe that he's the only one?
In light of everything that happened, Dr. Dre posts this. Then a fan peeped it and posted this. Then it seemed like to me there were a few black people trying to drag Dre. But I got a question, first of all, he said no jail time. Meaning he didn't do anything illegal to get his daughter into USC. It is not illegal to give a donation and for the school to then choose your daughter. That is not illegal. He did not cheat on a test. He did not fake her on a team. He didn't do any of those things. So this is a completely separate situation. This is more like nepotism or something. I don't know. But that ain't that, okay? It's not criminal. And the only reason that this has come to light is because those situations, what Felicity Huffman did and Lori Loughlin, those situations are criminal. They were bribing people, faking tests, fraud, all kinds of stuff. Okay? Above and beyond the donations that are made. I also want you to look at the disparities in the number amounts. Okay? The dollar amounts. Dr. Dre paid $70 million. He donated $70 million to USC for their music, something. And I remember when that happened, so I was like, why would he give them $70 million? I was like, that is a lot of money. Damn, he could have gave $1 million to all the HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Or started his own HBCU. How about that? Well, I guess it wouldn't be an H. But he could have started his own BCU. Okay, but anyway, $70 million. Lori Loughlin paid $500,000 for 2 girls. Okay? To be on fake teams or whatever. Felicity Huffman paid $15,000 to get her child more time on the SATs. So I want you to 70 million. See, even when there is favoritism shown because you're rich, there's still a large disparity. Large disparity. That's a big difference. Here's the thing that we have to be careful with, okay? Now, we have to be careful when we do get money and they let us in, and nobody should be mad at Dr. Dre because they let his daughter in because he was able to donate the money. I'm not mad at him. Do what you could do. Now, but what I think is that we should not forget where we are. They'll let one or two in because they like you for whatever reason. They're married to you, but they're not going to stick up for the whole thing. And we supposed to be on code. We supposed to stick up for everybody. Now, you do the best you can for your kids, but you're supposed to fight for everybody. Okay? Now, I want you to take a look at this video. This to me just spells it out perfectly how they can pick, or why this first video shows you why they pick certain people.
Girls who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Now, I want you to take a look really quick at this video of Gary Owens, who... Anyway, just take a look at this video and I'll talk about it after.
So this morning, my wife and daughter were flying from Cincinnati, Ohio to San Francisco, California on Delta, 7:20 a.m., gate B21. So they tell everybody to line up for first. So my wife gets in line, and the guy working the gate at B21, Cincinnati Airport, asked my wife, "Oh, are you in first?" And my wife said, "Yeah, I am." And then my wife said, "Are you not going to ask the guy behind me?" And he goes, "No." My wife said, "Why?" He said, "Because I don't feel like it." Now my wife's a black lady. The guy behind her was a white dude, and the ticket agent was a white dude. But he asked the black lady, "Are you in first?" But not the white dude. So Delta, I have almost 3 million miles with you. When you see this lady, that's my wife. She flies first. Don't ask.
So the part that I want you to notice is that he only cares about his wife. He don't care about nobody other black people that's being, accosted or assaulted or annoyed or profiled at the airport. You see that woman right there? That one. That particular black one, don't mess with that one. I don't care about all the rest of the black people that you harass. Don't harass my nigga.
We are willing to accept taking an L, and other people ain't willing to do that because survival isn't a competition. Other folk don't believe in taking an L. They believe in survival. Black people believe in earning our way and taking an L. But these other folk don't believe in taking any L's. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Brothers and sisters, do you play fairly with a vicious beast? Do you play fairly with someone who is devoid of morals, who is devoid of conscience, who is devoid of character? Do you play fair with someone like this? We are taught to compete. Our parents tell us we have to learn to compete. These other people teach their kids you have to dominate. That it's not about competition. They teach their children that there is no honor in losing.
What, you want me to just do it right here? Right now? You don't have to be shy with him.
I ain't shy, fool. Don't be looking at me like I ain't wearing no drawers. It's just hard to do if you ain't in the mood. And I ain't in the mood.